On June 25, 2026, near Warsaw, Poland, a Cirrus SR22 was involved in a fatal crash near the approach end of runway 28 left at Warsaw's Babis Airport. Investigators are still working to determine exactly what happened, but early flight tracking data and video from the scene are already raising important questions about aircraft control, traffic pattern discipline, and pilot decision-making in the final moments of the flight. We're going to ask our Dean of Aviation Safety, Mark Waddell, to look at the facts available. But before we go to Mark, if you'd like more information on the Cirrus Owners and Pilots Association, free Cirrus Embark training, Cirrus Approach, or the COPA Pilot Proficiency Program, we have put links in the description below. Now, let's bring in Mark for the details. Mark?
Thanks, Chuck. The aircraft was an SR-22 turbo manufactured in 2010. It had an engine that was overhauled 6 years ago and a 4-blade MT prop. The flight lasted a little over an hour, arriving in Warsaw, Poland shortly after 11 UTC. The crash site was located close to the approach end of runway 28 left. There was one person on the ground taken to the hospital and another who remained at the scene. The pilot and the passenger both died in the accident, and the aircraft was destroyed in a post-crash fire. The airport chart depicts a right-hand traffic pattern to runway 28 left. However, the pilot instead entered a left downwind for reasons not yet understood. Ground speed entering downwind was almost 170 knots, with an 11-knot tailwind. The 4-blade prop is an effective speed brake. These are the last recorded ADS-B positions as the aircraft decelerated during its left-hand turn to final. And the last recorded ground speed was only 76 knots. The airport traffic pattern flown by this pilot was not in accordance with standards that Cirrus pilots are taught during transition training and recurrent training. This reconstruction from ADS-B data showed the aircraft entering downwind at over 160 knots. As the aircraft is reaching a beam, the touchdown point, it slowed to just under 110 knots before beginning the left turn. It appears that the aircraft left control flight while in a steep descending left turn. Dashcam video shows what happened next as the aircraft banked and rolled sharply left, ending up in a fireball on the ground. This is another camera angle showing the final moments before the crash. The flaps were down and the ailerons fully deflected as the pilot was apparently attempting to lift the left wing. Sadly, we've seen this before in fatal loss of control accidents in the traffic pattern. We've reviewed nearly 400 Cirrus accidents and incidents over the past 6 years. And 70% of fatal accidents in this period happened in or near an airport traffic pattern, most of these due to loss of control in flight. So, this is what we know so far about this accident. We'll have to await further details as the investigation continues. The aircraft was equipped with a recoverable data module, so it may be possible to extract flight data from the aircraft to get a more definite picture about what happened. In the meantime, we encourage all Cirrus pilots, please get transition training when new to the aircraft and keep up with regular recurrent training with Cirrus standardized instructor pilots. And by flying standardized and stabilized, we can keep ourselves out of harm's way and hopefully prevent future accidents like this. Back to you, Chuck.
Thanks, Mark. This accident is a tragic reminder that the traffic pattern, though familiar to many pilots, can become one of the most unforgiving places in aviation when speed, bank angle, configuration, and workload all begin to converge. At low altitude, there is little time and even less room to correct a developing loss of control. And as we have seen in accident after accident, the instinctive response under pressure is not always the safe response. Pulling back, tightening the turn, or trying to force the airplane back toward the runway using rudder can quickly turn a recoverable situation into one that is not recoverable at all. In this case, the video appears to show the ailerons fully deflected as the pilot tries to lift the left wing. But at high load factors, full right aileron lowers the left aileron, increasing the angle of attack at the left wingtip. That can be enough to aggravate the very stall every pilot is trying to escape. That's why standardization matters. For Cirrus pilots, and for all pilots watching this, the takeaway is clear. Fly the pattern by the numbers, respect published procedures, and train for the moment when instinct must give way to discipline. The discipline to reduce the angle of attack and then roll the wings level. Another clear example of such discipline would be to live by the mantra, go around early, go around often. You know, after 6 years of studying traffic pattern mishaps and nearly 400 serious accidents and incidents, one fact dwarfs all the others. That fact, there has never been a mishap from a stable approach, at least not in the last 6 years. Let me repeat that. There has never been a mishap from a stable approach. Transition training and recurrent instruction are not box-checking exercises. They're the tools that help pilots recognize danger early and respond correctly when only seconds matter. I cannot emphasize this enough or too much. Get with a Cirrus standardized instructor pilot for recurrent training on caps, blue button operations, go-arounds, and flying to pattern gates at least once per year. As investigators continue to work, more details may emerge from the aircraft's recoverable data module. But even now, this case underscores a lesson worth repeating. Standardization saves lives, stabilization creates options, and sound training may be the difference between a close call and a catastrophe. For now, our thoughts remain with those affected by this accident. I do look forward to seeing you on the forums, or better yet, at the next CPPP. I'm Chuck Calley, and this has been First Takes.